Well, hello and good afternoon in a wet and drizzly UK. You've probably seen a few of these over here from America and Canada, but basically this big box is just arrived in the UK. This is the Shadows of Brimstone Warlord pledge box for their Adventures Kickstarter, which is basically the biggest one you can get. Like a lot of people, I subscribe at the maximum level and then probably basically just, wouldn't say forgot about it, but put it at the back of my mind until it turned up. And now it has, and this is what it is, one very large box. Everyone who's got a Warlord subscriber gets the same box. All your additional stuff you may have bought as add-ons and in the Pledge Manager, well, that turns up in waves 2 and 3. So everyone's got the same box. So we'll just have a little look and say what is in this large box. So there we go. I've had a little bit of a look ahead, as you can see, because it was already open. Just haven't really actually, all this is still in wrapping, so I haven't opened any of it. But what I did want to see was, have I got all the bits? And as far as I can see, yes, in as much as I can remember. Also, to say basically all this is effectively single stacked. So it's like this box goes all the way to the bottom, as do all of them, with the one exception, which is these sort of, there's a box here with another box underneath it. What that is, I will probably find out in a moment. It's also probably another hero, because that's a hero box. So, okay, first things first. Now you've kind of seen the box, I'm going to move that to one side for a moment. That's over there. First box we're going to get out. Let's have a go with first one in front of me. Let's go with this one, which is the Valley of the Serpent Kings box. Out you come. There we go. So, Valley of the Serpent Kings. It's basically one of their core sets. So, well, not so much a core set, but it is one of the core expansions. You'll already need basically a little bit of knowledge, I guess, to get the best out of this one. This is the one where they, if I switch to the back, it'll hopefully show, where what you get is a whole bunch of new conquistadors, and you get the Spanish fort as your sort of main normal. Let's go that normal world. But in the background to it, you have your Swamps of Dragano. So it integrates with the existing set that was the other world set from the Forest. So you have a little bit of an aid memoir there. It integrates with your Swamps of Death set from the original core sets from the original release way back. As you can see, we've got all the Aztecs there. We've got a bunch more serpent people. And then a whole bunch of contents lists. I mean, I could read it, but that's no fun, isn't it? So let's just open it up and see what we have inside. This time, remember to put some scissors with me first. There we go. Off with the cellophane. I'll open it up. So there we go. Right, what have we got? Well, a bunch of card packs. 1, 2, 3. I'll open those up in a moment. But yeah, it's the Shadows of Brimstone. What would it be if you didn't get a nice sort of door stopper full of cards? Over there. Then got, again, a sort of standard fare for Shadows of Brimstone. A whole bunch of these packs of figures. Not sure what that one is. That one looks like the heroes. Again, not entirely sure. Oh, that's probably henchmen allies, that one, of some description maybe. Bunch more. Bunch more. Bunch more. Bunch more. That looks like to be the extra large monster in this, whatever that is. So, there you go, very helpful. How to put them all together. Double-sided, including what appears to be the large Croxin beast. Okay. So there we go, that is that. Again, 2 rulebooks, fairly standard fare for Shadows of Brimstone. First, you've got the adventure book, which details the specifics of this box in terms of its other worlds, its missions, and so on. And then copy of the rulebook. This one being, of course, the latest one revised for the adventures. So probably going to be some extra stuff in there, because I can already see underneath here something that is not traditional. is the Conquistador camp map. So again, something that's kind of come in this set, which I presume if I read the rules I'll find more about, is you have a base camp which you can build up as well. And this is in addition to what Otherworld sort of towns and so on you go to that were there. So here's the cards for it by the looks of it. It seems to have double-sided with something on the back of that one, but there's the campfire, expedition supplies, anchored ship. Yeah. Oh yep, injury and madness chart. I'll have a compare later, see if that's the same. And then we've got again Spanish armory on both sides. Not sure what's going on there. Training on both sides. Maybe they can be upgraded, or maybe it's just a different. So many different options. They need two sides. So there we go. That's a bit new. Rather than town, you have these expedition camps, and then enemy cards. Oh, yeah, there we go. So enemy cards. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tentacles. Good old favourite. They get everywhere. But yeah, there's another sort of 7 more enemy cards. Double-sided, of course. Brutal on the other side, all of them. And here we go. Here is your new heroes. So 4 new Spanish Conquistador heroes. Basically one side and then gender flipped on the other side. So that's again fairly standard fare. As I said, it looks like there's some henchmen. Here are the 2 cards you need for a henchman. Either they're basic or advanced, and they're upgrades and mutations for the advanced henchmen. Always useful henchmen. Love me good henchmen. Okay, yeah, selection of dice, d6. Looks like the same quality as before. And there we go, d8 and a peril dice. So never forget, underneath all of that, take the insert out, put it to one side. Here you go. Here's the, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 basic cards, and they are basically all there's the sort of pop outs you need to play, including map tiles like that one, which is the start, the depth track. Looks like they've got some different expedition and council sort of tiles there. Flipping it over, usual stuff: grit, poison, bleeding, weirdo tokens. Don't know what they are. Look again, don't know what they are. Shootout. So it looks like you can have some new enemies with the shootout ability straight out of the box. Corruption, and so on. I'll open these up in a moment, and then we'll have a very quick skim through. But there you go. That's basically the contents of the box. So if I take that box bit out of the way, there we go. Put it to one side. So, do you need the existing Shadows of Brimstone to play with this? I don't believe you do. I believe you could take this out of the box and play it and have a perfectly enjoyable game of Shadows of Brimstone. But it is also dovetails into the much larger hobby that is playing Shadows of Brimstone. Right, so let's open some of these up more specifically, or at least cycle through what they are. So here you go. Here is the Croxin. We'll take that out. Let's go for the models first. Why not? I'll probably do a how to put it together video later. So, Croxin Beast, just getting it again out of its plastic wrapper. So one of the things that's impressed over time is the quality of these models has got better and better. There's basically a higher definition resolution on them, so they look a lot better, and they put a bit more thought into how they put them on the sprues. So here we go. Here is the Croxin Beast. I realise I've got a bit of a bad coloration behind it, so if I get that out of the way, I'm able to just see on the brown. That's your Croxin Beast. One model there with a lizard type thing when put together. Put that to one side. Oh yeah, next up was that henchman one, so if I just open this up again carefully. Okay, get those bases out of the way. There's your henchman, free sort of Spanish halberdier wielding henchmen. For those not familiar with the main game of Shadows of Brimstone, basically henchmen are on your side, but they're not a character played by a player as such. A player may own them and they use them as sort of almost NPCs, like if it were a role-playing game. Sometimes they die real quick because they're not a full-on player, but they are very useful. They can take a lot of the punishment instead of the players' characters. Isn't that good? So, what is the... Oh, this might be... Yeah, this looks like it is. Speaking of which, this is the heroes. Oops, dropped it. Oh dear. Hopefully nothing's broke. There we go. Out it comes. Put the bases to one side. Oh yeah, here you go. Here's the sprue. Looks like this is the sprue with all the heroes on. Now, if I knew what all the heroes are, if I knew what all the heroes were in this set, I'll be able to tell you. But I don't know. Maybe we can do a bit of a cross compare. So, we've got a conquistador duelist. So presumably that's going to be someone with a rapier and looks like an offhand Mangauche style thing. Maybe that one down there. Maybe that one. Maybe that one's there. So if we bring it over that way, maybe that one's it. Don't know. So we've got conquistador duelist. Got a conquistador capitan. That's got a shiny helmet on. So is that one? Sorry, is that one there? Shiny helmet on? Maybe? Don't know. Conquistador Explorer. Much more vanilla hat is maybe that one? Is that right? Don't know. Guessing here. Pure guesswork. And a Conquistador soldier with a gun. I don't know. So maybe just looking at who's got the gun. Or crossbow. Sorry, it's a crossbow. Who's got the crossbow? I don't know. Guessing here. I'll do a fully assembled video, I guess, where we'll show what they all are. So next up, looks like a series of large. So the Croxin was an extra large in Shadows of Brimstone terminology. These are 40mm bases, so they are large. What will these be? Put two down there. Show you one. Looks like it's a very large serpent man, serpent person. How do you tell? Don't really know. So I've got some kind of serpent person in there. 3 of them. Get those out of the way. Next up, this is on a normal size base. So, sorry, yeah, normal size for Shadows of Brimstone. 25mm. And there's 3 sprues of this, 2 other than this, and looks like on each sprue you get a couple more slightly smaller serpent people armed with crossbows. Bows, so that'll be your ranged mob there, bringing some ranged capability to the serpent men you've had in Gigano previously. And then the last one, again, a bunch of normal size bases, so I presume these are some normal enemies. I'm assuming, because I'm looking at it here, these are the carnivorous plants. Again, 25mm bases. Yeah, they look like 3 sprues, on each of which you get these 2 carnivorous plants. So there's a card for tentacles, but there's no models for tentacles. Obviously they're relying on you having them from the original Swamp of Death or City of the Ancients. I was going to say, is that all? Okay. So if I just have a quick look through the things, ones we're missing out of this box would appear to be some Drowned Dead. We've got some. There's a enemy card for them, but there's no models for them. So maybe they're in some of the other stuff in the box. Don't know. Those are Serpent Men archers that we saw. Temple Guard. They're the big Serpent Men. XL, so large, just large. Tentacles, no models for. Carnivorous plants. Again, they're the ones we just saw. Creeping Shadows. No models for, but there are. I can see they are matching the tokens there, so maybe they're tokens. and then the Croxin Beast, the big one for this set. So that's that done. Oh, sorry, I'd completely cover them up. There they are. There's the Drowned Dead. So it's just the tentacles and the shadows, which presumably have their own special tokens, because they might behave a little oddly or just don't have models. Okay, so open these up. Here we go. Again, standard size bases, and there's 2 on a sprue, 3 sprues in total. There you go. Your Drowned Dead come to assault your conquistadors. Okay, so that's all of that. The only thing really left to do and open up is go through these cardboard packs. So I'll open this up. So this first one, as mentioned, it's got a bunch of these sort of status effects. So it's got poisons, corruption, grit, bleeding, also the tokens for the shadows. So you've seen that one, you can see the other side of it. There you go. Not too much new on that one. Okay, this is a bit more newer. This is the map tile here. So you've got portals, Targa sort of end stops, a couple of Darkstone, some of the side bag tokens. Flip it over. There you go, there's a Spanish fort. So it's one of the sort of 4-way junction Spanish fort tiles with some Spanish fort dead ends and portals. This looks very similar. Similar sort of Gigano tile, some similar sort of tokens. There we go. It is indeed almost identical. There we go, like that. Bit of a new one here. This is obviously a special room. That's Gigano side. Wrecked. Not entirely sure what that token's for. Not entirely sure what the Roman numerals are for. Flip it over. Oh, actually, these are the randomization counter tokens. Bits for your camp, I presume. And that's the Spanish fort, sort of dining hall. And 2, 3 to go your wrecked. Oh, I see. Maybe there's like a status progression. Anyway. Side bag tokens, 7 token side bags. Interesting, this is a card. Previously it's been a card board. Previously it's been a card in the card deck. Now it's a piece of card. Side bag tokens. There's a Gigano bit with black bits to block off movement. Flip it over. Spanish fort, 5 side bags. Rum, don't know what that is, assume it's the equivalent of whiskey. Okay, that over there. So there's your tentacle tokens, I guess, to use instead of the models, which you won't have unless you've got the older sets. Not entirely sure what all these are. Some kind of combat tokens. Another map tile, white border, therefore you can see over it, but you can't. You can use it as cover, but you can't traverse over it without special rules. Flipping over. Yeah, definitely some kind of Spanish conquistador combat effect. Tentacles. Other side of Spanish fort. Moving on to some more map tiles, Gigano versions. Flip them over, Spanish fort. Here's all your wound and sanity tiles that you may all need. Gigano sides, Spanish fort. And then the last one is basically the first one we saw. So there's the Gigano side of the opening tile, exploration tokens, and that's the other side of the depth track, which is the same as the previous depth tracks, just with some slightly different graphics. Okay, so that's it for that sort of cardboard. What have we got in the card packs? Last bit now. So let's get into these. Okay, so I can see from the top of this one, it's a map deck for Swamps of Gigano. Well, that's not unsurprising, isn't it, really? Again, for Shadows of Brimstone for aficionados, for those who played it before, not a real surprise, but for those who don't know, and never come to Shadows of Brimstone before, basically you work your way through the dungeon, whatever you're doing, you use these map deck tiles to basically randomise which ones you get. So these will have in them basically the card version of all the cardboard tiles in there. So yeah, map tiles for Chicano, map tiles for Spanish Fort. Again, basically the card versions of the cardboard. Okay, then we've got darkness. Got a few darkness ones here, badged up there in the top left for which set, so this tells you that it's Spanish Fort. These are basically random negative effects that may occur when you basically reach certain points or certain things. They will trigger a pull a darkness card. You'll pull one of these, they're random, and they're badged by expansion and world, so you don't, so whilst they all have the same back as the ones in previous sets, you know that this is the bad deck you should be using when you're using the Spanish Conquistadors and so on adventure set. Threat cards, so whenever you encounter a threat in a world, you need to find out what it is, which of these models down here it's going to be, what monster it's going to be. These cards will randomly determine. So this is the other world Gigano versions. So if in your Gigano you take from these, and they will have on their flip side one of the enemies, some flavour text, and you roll to see how many it is, depending on how many people are playing. So yeah, there's basically all the ones you've just seen, iterations of there for Gigano. And then trait cards. So these are the drowned dead trait. So trait cards, when you draw a monster, it may have a trait with it that modifies it slightly. You draw a bit random. So these are various different ways to make those sort of drowned dead just a little bit tougher. So that's the first card pack. Next one, I can see there's a world card at the top. Okay, world cards, should be 2 I imagine. Flip them over, yeah. So, Spanish Fort, Swamps of Gigano. What this is for is that way around. Whenever you enter a new world at random, you put all your worlds from all your other sets or your other expansions you may have, shuffle them all together and pull one at random and see where you're going. In this case, this would be the Spanish Fort or Swamps of Gigano, Valley of the Serpent Kings. Looks a little bit different, I'll show you that. It's got some text on it which is a bit different to the original Gigano, so it's a slight variant on the Gigano world. You've then got threat deck cards. These are for when walking around in a normal place, a not of a world, for epic threats, high level threats, medium threats, low threats, depending on number of players or what the card says. And again, similarly, they are basically the card version of all the monsters. So when you go, so here we go, artifacts, what are you doing? Going around looting Spanish forts and Gigano. In this case, Gigano, you'll get some artifacts, some stuff. There you go, this is the Gigano artifacts. To be mixed in, I guess, with the existing Gigano ones you've got. They look the same. So there you go. All the really shiny stuff you can get out of a potential loot run. Similarly, Spanish fort artifacts. There we go. There's a few. If you're looting the Spanish fort, you might pick up some of these. Obviously no pre-existing deck for these, so they're always just going to be on their own until some more expansion stuff comes out. Encounters. We've got, I'm going to guess, yep, there we go, we've got encounter decks. Things that may happen whilst you're in the Swamps of Gigano. So randomly choose from there. Here's what happens to you: meet people, loot things, traps, all that kind of stuff, quite a few of them. Again, to be mixed in with the existing Gigano encounters. And encounters Spanish Fort, things that may occur to you in Spanish Fort. No existing deck for those yet. Last card pack from this box. There we go, cool. And top of the deck, Growing Dread, the real nasty things. So these are basically, there we go, Growing Dread, take them out. As you progress through the dungeon, as you hit certain points on the depth trap by going deeper and deeper and failing the rolls to keep yourself out of the darkness, you pick up Growing Dreads, and they're modifiers or effects that kick into play at the final encounter. They're all basically look like that. They're all quite nasty, and again badged by expansion. So this says to be used with a Spanish fort. So that's your Growing Dread. Gear. There's a bit more mundane stuff. Artifacts are the really special shiny stuff. Gear is a slightly more mundane. Not so like there's a map, you know, there's one, or there's some fire wine, whatever that does, or jacket. Basically mundane stuff. Could get got up by loot. Again, badged by expansion. So we'll put that there. For gear, personal items. Let's get some personal items out of the way. Personal items. Every character starts with their own item. There's a huge big list of them for the Wild West sort of ones. It looks like there's a separate stack you get for Conquistors, which would make sense because some of the stuff the Conquistors would have on them isn't appropriate for Wild West and vice versa. So there you go, there's the sort of things Conquistor might start the game with. Team abilities Conquistadors. Okay, there you go. Team abilities Conquistadors. So basically, this is new, so I'm going to be a little hesitant on this. So this is new, but what I do know is that when you're playing as either the Conquistadors or the Vikings, everyone who is also a Conquistador or Viking between you have access to these team abilities. Again, I'll read the rules and work it out exactly, but they're basically things you can do because you're playing as a team, rather than just a bunch of solos. That is how things were originally in the game. Oh yeah, and here's so get them out of the way, there we go. Basically the abilities in the main sort of adventure book, you do get a list of the expandable abilities that you get by experience, but the starting ones they also give you as cards, and there's like a choice of 2 or 3. So there we go, choice of starting abilities for the Spanish Conquistadors. Starting gear, so there we go, starting gear looks like that on that side. And the fairly mundane stuff that is on the character cards, if I go and get one, let's grab that one. It basically will tell you what gear they start with on this. And this person, say for instance, starts with Conquistador's armour, Morian helmet and a crossbow. So they're in the starting gear. And then scavenge. So scavenge, when you do a scavenging action you might get some stuff. This tells you what it is. There you go. And loot. Again, sometimes you get something that says draw a loot card, or when you like defeat some monsters you might get a loot card. This is your loot options. Now I need to go and check. These sort of look the same as the existing loot cards, so there's no need to integrate them. You keep them separate and you always on. Whereas some of these scavengers look a bit different, am I right? Yeah, these look a bit different. So it might be that the scavengers have to stay specific to this world. Similar. I'll have a look what the rules say. They're just the last sort of splash of cards at the end, which are basically the special rules that you might need to remember for this expansion. Okay, there you go. That is it for Valley of the Kings. In a moment I'll move on to the next box and I'll go straight to the other box. I'll go straight to Gates of Valhalla.